everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Captain Lou Extravaganza live here on the 12-ounce sports platform and networks and Zingo TV, channel 761. Great to have you with us here. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. This is our Christmas going home show, if you will. We will not be on in between Christmas and New Year's, so we want to say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Get that out of the way right now. We got a great show planned for you tonight. We're going to talk NFL. Well, maybe a little bit. Yeah, we are going to talk NFL playoffs. We're going to talk NFL playoff picture here in the first half hour. But we're going to talk college football playoffs as well here tonight. Scheduled to join us at 8:30, Todd Corder. We're going to go over the Final Four of college football. Also take a look at some of the bowl games. Might squeeze in a little bit of Detroit Lion talk with him. Lions' big win over the weekend. Biting kneecaps all the way up, baby. Huge win over Arizona. Only their second win, but I got to tell you, they came in 13.5-point underdogs in that game against the Cardinals and opened up a can of whoop ass on Arizona. 30-12 was the final score. Arizona 0-4 now in clinching scenario games under Cliff Kingsbury. He's going to look to change that this weekend, and he's got a tough matchup, or they do, as Indianapolis will come calling. And speaking of Indianapolis, Stephen Burton from the No Horsing Around podcast is going to join us at 9 o'clock. We're going to talk Indianapolis Colts. We're going to talk the AFC South and the AFC in general and anything else that's going on in his world as it is getting close to playoff time in the NFL. I think we've got 3 weeks left after tonight. We've got 2 games going on right now. Last I checked, the Rams were up 3-0 over the Seahawks, and the Washington football team. See, I told you it's going to take me 3 or 4 years not to call them the Redskins. The Washington football team on top of Philadelphia 10-0. Those teams are going to beat the hell out of each other. Minnesota will end up sneaking into that last playoff spot. Philadelphia with a chance to really get a leg up on that 7th and final playoff spot with a win tonight over Washington. But right now, it's been all football team with their third-string quarterback because of COVID. They're up 10-0. Also, we're going to have another edition of the Captain Lou Six-Pack Challenge tonight. Probably do that in the first half hour or right towards the end of our third half hour, towards the bottom of the second hour. So make sure you stick around for that. We've got 2 episodes left of the Captain Lou Six-Pack Challenge for you to get an opportunity to get in the drawing for a $100 Visa gift card and also a gift certificate to Fanatics. So make sure that you stick around later on in the show to listen to the picks. We'll give you your opportunity and tell you how you can be a part of the show as well, or as far as the contest, I should say, as well as, again, we've got 6 games to pick for the pros, and possibly next weekend or right before, we'll see what happens with the last one coming up in a couple of weeks, but we've got 6 games to pick against the pros here for you tonight, so make sure that you stick around for that. And then also coming up in the last half hour, we're going to have a special tribute to a fallen champion, fellow hockey player from Aquinas College passed away this past weekend. Kind of something near and dear to my heart. Kind of a gut punch, if you will. We'll talk about that in the last half hour. Alex Klakoka passed away at the age of 23, assistant captain with Aquinas. So we'll talk about that in the last half hour of the show. Make sure you stick around for that. It's going to be a nice tribute to Alex here tonight, so we want to invite you to stick around for that as well. We've got a lot to talk about here tonight. It's, again, going to be a fun show. We've got college playoffs to talk about, as we mentioned. Michigan and Georgia, Alabama and Cincinnati. Those are going to be a couple of really, really good games. It's starting to build up a little bit. I know we've got a lot of talk with the NFL yet with the playoffs, and the other thing that's rearing its ugly head here this week and last week is COVID. The Omicron virus, or variant, I should say, is really wreaking havoc. Obviously, we've got 2 pro games tonight. As we mentioned, Washington and Philadelphia playing along with LA and Seattle. It's probably going to wreak havoc on the Christmas Day games with the NBA. I know Michigan's basketball game is canceled tonight. It's it's funny is my son and I are looking to do our basketball doubleheader on January 8th, Michigan and Michigan State at Chrysler, and then that's an afternoon tilt, and then that night down in Little Caesars, we're going to watch the Pistons and Orlando. But I was talking earlier to my wife. I'm thinking, I don't know if I want to get the tickets right now. My son with his busy schedule with college and whatnot, work. Saturday's perfect. But if that game is postponed to a Tuesday in February where he can't go, or a Wednesday, the price of those tickets and everything, man, it's one of those where you're going to have to wait until literally the last couple of days beforehand. I don't know where we're headed. The NHL looks like they're going to be they're not sending players to the Olympics. Not surprised with that. I got to tell you, I wouldn't be going to China for the Olympics right now. I mean, with all due respect to China, and it's nothing against them, it's just with this variant, you don't know. And I know, I've got the booster and everything, and I know it's not as bad when you have the booster. It's more like a bad cold, they're saying. I don't know. But still, I mean, there's so many unknowns out there. So many unknowns that, you just don't know what's going to happen next. And with these leagues right now, basketball, the NBA postponing games, the NHL on pause until after the break. I think there's one game going tomorrow. I'm not sure. Who knows what's going to happen? And that's scary, and it's a shame. Let's just hope and pray that these bowl games can be played. They are being played right now. Let's hope that they can keep being played. The NFL as well. It's crazy out there. So with these Tuesday night games, I got a feeling there's going to be more of that next weekend. Does Cleveland and Green Bay play on Saturday? Are they going to reschedule that? That's a big game now. Cleveland, they're playing with their third-string quarterback yesterday. Should have probably won that game against the Raiders. But now the Raiders are 7-7. I mean, it's just the NFL is wacky right now. COVID, just an exclamation point on it. So many teams. I was listening to a show this morning, and they were saying 28 teams are still mathematically alive to get a playoff berth. And we know that's crazy because after next weekend, that'll be cut probably in half, if not more. But there's realistically only 5 or 6 that are, really worthy NFL contenders for the Super Bowl. Tampa Bay, Green Bay, Kansas City, Buffalo, maybe the Rams. I don't know. Arizona. It's hard for me to take Arizona serious after the ass whooping that they took at the hands of our Detroit Lions. What about that, hey? I tell you, Jared Goff played one of his better games. Now he's got COVID. He may not play on Sunday against the Falcons. What's up with Arizona? They came in, maybe they were looking past Detroit a little bit, counting their chickens or whatever. But what I liked about the Lions is, they just threw caution to the wind. I love the aggressive play of the defense. Where's that been all year? 4 guys, rushing 3, sending 5. I mean, yeah, they gave up a couple of big plays, but they had heat on Kyler Murray all game. And it was so refreshing. So refreshing. It's funny is if you get a chance, look on our website, 12ouncesportsradio.com. I did an article comparing Dan Campbell to Urban Meyer. We haven't even touched on that. We'll touch on that a little bit. Herb, of course, getting shown the door. No surprise there. But the big difference between those two, it's funny, is Urban Meyer came in earlier in the year with all the accolades. College genius, football mind extraordinaire. And he hit the ground, and it was my way or the highway, whatever. And, it just, the incident with the strength and conditioning coach, the Tim Tebow experiment, he lost the locker room early. The crap in Cincinnati, Josh Lambo, the whole 9 yards, man. It just was one. But the big thing, one cluster after another. But the big thing, the big difference between him and Dan Campbell's got the respect of his players. Dan Campbell, he knows he's a work in progress. Detroit's got hardly any talent. They've got a few building blocks. Penei Sewell's playing well. You can say what you want. It was a great pick. I think he's done well. He's done very good. Jared Goff, we know he's not Matt Stafford. Let's be honest. But Dan Campbell's played with more than, he's gotten more out of his talent, obviously, than what Urban Meyer had. Now, Urban Meyer doesn't have a lot down there, but Dan Campbell's players will play for him. They'll go through a wall for him. And that's got to say something. Detroit has played hard every week. They're 2-11-1, and what really just burns my ass, besides the flame about that high, is when I hear the people, the social media, the naysayers say, well, they just blew it because they didn't get the number 1 draft pick. If there was ever a year not to worry about that, that's this year. There's no Trevor Lawrence out there. There's no Joe Montana or whatever. There's no Matt Stafford, number 1 pick of the draft type of a quarterback. They're going to be able to get either line help or defensive help. Aiden Hutchinson or the kid from Oregon. Even a top 3 pick is going to be good. But they got to start, changing the culture. My Lions changing the culture. I just, it was a refreshing win. And I'm not going to jump to anything and say, well, the Lions are going to be playoff bound next year. I'll say that just to get a few laughs and get people think I'm crazy. But those of you that know me personally know, I say the Lions are going to win 10 games every year. I look at the schedule and, I'm a Pollyanna optimist. But I'm also a realist. And you look at this team and they're bad. They're very deprived of talent right now. They got a long way to go. But winning a couple of games here, just to get a little bit of confidence in, who knows? But before we go to break, I wanted to bring up something I heard, and I got to give Colin Cowherd credit for this. I think he's a bird brain, but it's funny. The mess in Chicago is just as bad as Detroit. Chicago got beat yesterday. They looked horrible. They got no direction. They're going to have to start over. But for all you Chicago Bear fans that think that you're so much better than Detroit, how many winning seasons has Chicago had since 2007, since they went to the Super Bowl? 4. How many have the Detroit Lions had? 4. So that's right. The Bears are no better off than Detroit. Except Detroit may have a little bit, they might, I don't know. They're not starting over again. Well, they are, but they're building the building blocks a little bit at a time. Chicago's in blow-up mode. What is that going to do for Justin Fields? Who are they going to bring in for coach? We all know that Nagy's gone. And Nagy, they weren't, I don't know. I mean, what's next for the Bears? But hey, congratulations to my Detroit Lions. They're 2-11-1. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a win. It's one more win than I thought they were going to get this year. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to take a look at the NFL standings. We're going to see the playoff scenarios if everything were done right now. That includes the 2 games that are going on tonight. Don't forget, we've got Todd Corder coming up at the bottom of this first hour. We're going to talk college football playoff with him. Not only the playoff games, but some of the other bowl games. We'll ask him about Kenny Walker III and Kenny Pickett going pro, leaving the Peach Bowl, kind of, not as attractive as it may be. So we'll talk about that and a whole lot more. Stephen Burton coming up at the top of the second hour. We've also got our Captain Lou 6-Pack Challenge, and we've got what we think is going to be a very nice tribute to Alex Klikoka coming up in the last portion of our show tonight. So we invite you to stick around for that. You're watching the Captain Lou Extravaganza live here on the 12-Ounce Sports platform and networks, including Zingo TV Channel 761. Don't go anywhere.
12-Ounce Sports has a new home for betting. BetUS.com is the official place to place your bets and support 12-Ounce Sports. All you have to do is go to betus.com and type in the promo code 120Z and you'll instantly get a deposit bonus. This is America's favorite sports book. And remember, always gamble responsibly.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Captain Lou Extravaganza live here on the 12-Ounce Sports platform of networks. That includes Zingo TV, channel 761. Also, we're live on Twitter and Facebook Live on our Facebook page, also on YouTube, Twitch, you name it. We're live and we're here. And also just check out our website, 12ouncesportsnetwork.com. And of course, speaking of 12-Ounce Sports, make sure, we're sponsored by BetUS. The easiest way to do that, by the way, is to go to 12-Ounce Sports Network /BetUS. It'll take you right to the website. It's safe. It's fun. If you want to put a few shackles on this weekend's NFL games with Christmas time coming around, the family's all going to get together. Maybe you want to put a sawbuck on the Lions to go for 2 in a row, or Tampa Bay to bounce back after that goose egg they laid against the Saints this past weekend. Go to 12ouncesportsradio.com /BetUS. It's that simple. You can see it on the screen. Use the promo code 120Z. It's that simple. If you do that, then you will be eligible for your first bonus of a 125% match. That's right. If you put $100 in, they'll put 125 more in there for you to bet. That's free money. It's that simple. I don't know how else to explain it to you. Do that. That's a 120Z. That's the bonus, and you will have $225 if you put $100 in to bet with. You could put it on the Packers, looking to thump the Browns to solidify their number 1 seed in the NFC. Because I'll tell you what, the Packers are looking pretty phenomenal right now. And Aaron Rodgers, everybody knows he's not my favorite player. No doubt about it. But you got to recognize greatness. And, you can put personal feelings aside. Aaron Rodgers is just playing phenomenal. To me, it's down to him and Jonathan Taylor for the MVP of the league. And I'm not just saying that because we've got Stephen Burton coming on at the top of the second hour. I watched that performance the other night against New England. That was amazing. He is definitely the catalyst behind that team. With all due respect to Carson Wentz, he's having a good year, not a great one. But when you can only complete 5 passes and still beat who was at the time the number 1 seed in the AFC, and he's the reason why, 170-some yards, yeah, he's got to be in the MVP conversation. They're not. It's kind of like the Heisman Trophy. They don't like to give it to running backs anymore unless, it's something phenomenal. Jonathan Taylor, in my mind, is having one of those phenomenal years. So, again, That's he's right up there with Aaron Rodgers. So, but getting back to what I said, go to 12ouncesportsradio.com/BetUS. And when you do, that'll take you right to BetUS, and it'll get you to the website to bet on your favorite games or play your favorite casino games. But make sure when you make your first deposit, use the promo code 120Z, and you will get a 125% bonus match. You put $50 in, they'll give you $62.50 on top of that to play with. And there you go. You can make that bet, make that parlay, make that teaser bet. Make yourself a little bit of money to cover the Christmas presents that you are purchasing for your family or whatever. And just remember, though, bet responsibly. Stay within your limits. Just keep it fun. That's what I do. I don't bet the house payment or anything like that. I just put like a sawbuck or a couple of bucks on a game just to have a little skin in it. Like MSU basketball or whatever. They're playing Oakland, by the way. My brothers-in-law are texting back and forth along with some friends of mine, Mark Ashley, Mark Richardson, and love to see the banner back and forth. I'm not going to be able to be in their text chain tonight because of our game, our show, which is fine. But I guarantee you by the end of that game, there will be 150 messages waiting for me to check out. It's great. So, hey, see how easy I get sidetracked here on the show? It's great because I can ramble on and on with you guys here on the show. And this is something, it's so much fun for me to do. It really is. I just enjoy this thoroughly. And, I want to thank the 12-Ounce Sports folks here for giving me this platform, this opportunity. Can't wait for 2022. Big things coming up here on the Extravaganza and also on 12-Ounce Sports. We're going to get back in the groove with our ACHA interviews in January as they are heading into the stretch run 2 months before 3 months technically before Nationals down in St. Louis. So we got a lot to talk about with the folks there. So we're going to really get into gear with that, along with NFL playoffs coming up after New Year's. So again, we will not be on next Tuesday night. We're going to take a break, kind of recharge our batteries, go in the basement, if you will, just get some new ideas pumped up here for 2022 here and the Captain Lou Extravaganza. So we talked about the playoff picture going to break. We'll start on that before we get to our first guest when Todd Corder calls in about 5 minutes. You take a look at the AFC. We'll go with that first. Kansas City, I tell you, they're rolling right now. It's crazy because in October, present company included, we wondered, could they bounce back? What were they, 3-4? They've won 7 straight. And they've kind of figured it out a little bit. Their defense is coming into form, but their offense, they're kind of incorporating a little bit of a dink and dunk kind of an offense. And I'll tell you, it's working. Kansas City's the number 1 seed right now, and they got a leg up on New England and Tennessee. If you look at the AFC, you've got Tennessee right now as the 3rd seed, or the New England as the 2nd seed, Tennessee as the 3rd seed. Then you got Cincinnati at the 4th seed right now, leading their division. But that division, you can go from first to last in a matter of a week. Cleveland is testimony of that. They played last night against Las Vegas, and lost that game on a last-second field goal. So all of a sudden, Cleveland went from number 1 in their division, probably a 4 seed, and I look at my computer, they're a 12 seed right now, tied with the Denver Broncos. It's such a mishmash right there. Pittsburgh is all of a sudden in the playoff conversation. There's a logjam right now for the 5th, 6th, and 7th seed. Indianapolis has the tiebreak over Buffalo, Los Angeles, and Baltimore based on best winning percentage in conference games. Then you got the Chargers with the 6th seed. They win the tiebreak over Buffalo and Baltimore based on that same tiebreaker. When you've got 3 or 4 different tiebreaker scenario or teams tied, that tiebreaker scenario comes into play. And if you look at the conference record, Indianapolis is 7-3. That's huge. The Chargers are 5-4. Buffalo is 5-5. The Ravens are 5-5. Now we take a look at Indianapolis, for example. They've got a non-conference tilt coming up this weekend. I think we mentioned it at the top of the show. They play Arizona on Christmas night in Arizona. Then after that, they're home to Vegas. Then they finish at Jacksonville. That's huge because those are two winnable games for Indianapolis. I really like where they're sitting. They could, in my mind, they could be 10-7. I don't think that's going to get them the division because Tennessee's got the tiebreak on them. But that'll probably give them that 5th seed, and they'll play the winner of the AFC North. Will it be Baltimore? Will it be Cincinnati? Will it be Cleveland? I doubt it. Pittsburgh's not out of the realm of possibility in that division. Who would have thought that after tying Detroit? Now, granted, they didn't have Ben Roethlisberger in that game. But I look at these teams. I look at Cleveland. They only beat Detroit by 3 points. 3 lousy points. And people are talking about them as a playoff team. Baltimore. We all know what happened against Detroit. 66-yard field goal. Just think if Detroit would have stopped that. Baltimore got that, they got the benefit of a bad call. Just think how the momentum would have twisted around maybe if Detroit would have won that game. I'm not saying Detroit would have been a playoff team, but boy, you learn to win those close games. But getting back to the AFC, if it ended today, Buffalo would be the 7th seed playing New England in a rematch. Are those two teams still play again? Raise your hand if you'd have thought Buffalo would have been a 7 seed this year. No way. I wouldn't have thought it. Buffalo, they win the tiebreak over Baltimore just to get in the playoff. Best winning, they beat them. It's crazy. The Chargers, I can't figure them out. Just when I think that they're going to take the bull by the cojones and possibly earn that playoff berth, or get to where they're in a good position, maybe a 5 seed. They're hanging on at 8-6. They'll probably sneak in. As crazy as this sounds, it's going to come down to Buffalo and possibly Pittsburgh. I mean, Miami is still in it at 7-7. Who would have thought they would be in it? Tua's playing better. It's amazing. It's crazy right now if you look at the AFC playoff picture. So many teams. The 13th seed is the Denver Broncos, and they're 7-7. What the bad part for them, they're 3-6 in conference games, and that's going to kill them in any tiebreak. Just like Miami, or I beg your pardon, Cleveland, they're 4-6. So I just don't see it happening. Well, anyways, let's go to our guest line, the Captain Lou Extravaganza guest line, and joining us live from Minneapolis, not Georgia, but Minneapolis. He's covering some pucks up there in this holiday week. Todd Corder. Todd, thanks for hopping on again with us tonight. How are you, my friend?
Oh, no problem. Covering the NAPHL and the NA3HL showcase up in Blaine, Minnesota. They call it the Super Rink. I got to be able to see Herb Brooks Arena today. A lot of history up here, and I'm very fortunate to be able to broadcast this tournament for Hockey TV.
Tell us a little bit about what level of hockey again is this up there, Todd? It's I know it's a great talent level, but what level are we talking about? Age group and whatnot?
Well, for the NAPHL, it would be Tier 1. For the NA3HL, a lot of these kids, they're getting scouted to play D3, D2, and some of them D1 hockey. Usually that's more for the kids up in the NAHL, which is a higher league than the NA3HL. But there were a lot of scouts all over the place today, and I've done some fantastic games in this tournament so far. Had a lot of surprises, actually.
Well, that's what makes it fun. It's just like the NFL season right now. We'll maybe talk about that in a little bit. You just never know from game to game what's going to happen.
There's no doubt. I mean, we had a team that won. It was 2-25 coming into the showcase, and then won each of their games this weekend.
Wow.
I had another team that was 21-0, and they got beat twice this weekend. And like you said, you alluded to the Detroit Lions and a funny upset over Arizona. And you have to be impressed with what Dan Campbell's done here in the last month or so with his team. They play hard, and I can't wait until he gets some talent. If he can get some talent, Detroit actually could be a contender one day.
Well, it's funny. They're 2-3-1 in their last 6 games, which I know for a lot of teams that's nothing. But when you're a long-suffering Lions fan and you're looking for any silver lining like what we're looking for, Todd, yeah, that's definitely something to look forward to. I liked what they did, the Lions, on Sunday with their aggressive defense. They had nothing to lose, and they made things look. They made things very, very difficult for Kyler Murray. And again, you look at a Cardinals team that's snake bit trying to clinch a playoff spot.
I was stunned to see the victory, but Jared Goff played very well. The offensive line did good. Can you believe the running back that they got off the street? I mean, wow, what a football player. This might be their best back.
Boy, it's crazy. I agree. You look at it and you think, off the scrap heap, like you said, he got 103 yards. It's crazy. Todd, one of the main reasons I wanted to get you on the show tonight, we're not going to be on next week because of the break we're going to take in between Christmas and New Year's. So we've got the college football playoffs are coming up on New Year's Eve. Of course, Alabama, Cincinnati, Georgia, Michigan. Just wanted to talk again with you about those games. Obviously, you and I are Michigan fans. You're a Michigan guy. We'll talk about that game in a second. But we've got Alabama and Cincinnati coming up. Now they're practicing. It's starting to get real for those teams. Your gut, with about 10 days left to go before the big games, obviously Alabama's a prohibitive favorite, but Cincinnati had to have done something to get there, and I know they're not just going to lay down for them. I look for a pretty decent game there.
Alabama's a 2-touchdown favorite. I expect them to cover it. A team like Nick Saban's always plays best at the end of the year, even though they had that struggle with Auburn. But that Auburn team has an excellent defensive line. But, you have to be impressed with what Alabama did to Georgia. They were able to throw the ball on the nation's number one defense. And once they were able to do that, they were able to run it. Cincinnati's a good team. They do have a nice win at Alabama. But honestly, I expect Alabama to pull away in this game sometime to mid to late third quarter.
That's kind of what I'm thinking too. I like Ritter. He's a good quarterback, and they've got a couple of weapons. But you can belabor their schedule all you want. They beat the teams they had to beat. I'm not 100% sold on Notre Dame. I think they're a touch overrated. I look at the teams that they've played, and they're not great. I like the weapons. I think, I heard one commentator to say today, the obvious, they can't make any turnovers. But I don't know how they're going to be able to control the ball against Alabama to keep that offense off the field.
Well, that's the young kid who won the Heisman Trophy. He deserved it, and I just don't think Cincinnati can contain him. But then again, Alabama's been a team that has been inconsistent and skittish on offense.
Yeah.
If they have a bad day, yes, it could be a good game. And, of course, all these big games are decided by turnovers, and they're all won on the line of scrimmage. And when you look at who Alabama recruits on the line of scrimmage compared to Cincinnati with these five-star players, you expect Alabama and Nick Saban to come through.
Oh, I agree 100%, Todd. And I don't care. They can say all they want about, not being starstruck. Alabama's been there so many times, and Cincinnati, that's the one thing I'm going to look for. How long is it going to take them to get over the nerves? I mean, I know some of these kids have never been there, but this is a different territory for a team like Cincinnati, and I wonder how much that's going to play into it.
Well, it could, but here's the deal: Cincinnati's the team that has nothing to lose,
Okay.
and to quote Nick Saban, think about it. Everybody talked about how bad Alabama was before they played Georgia, and how good Georgia was, and Alabama was receiving the good rat poison, as Nick Saban would say, and he said it was yummy. So now, 3 weeks to a month later, Alabama's receiving all the bad rat poison, and Cincinnati's going, hey, this is yummy. So look at it that way, and you just never know. That's why they play the game, and upsets do happen, but I expect Alabama to win.
So they play the first game, and then coming up in the nightcap down in Miami, it's going to be Michigan and Georgia. And Michigan comes in depending on what betting site you're looking at. Latest I saw was 8-point favorite. Georgia is. Michigan's an underdog. Georgia, it's funny is they were manhandled by Alabama. Do they come in like a scalded dog looking to prove themselves, or are they going to be still a little shell-shocked from that? And I don't know. Is this a Michigan team, Todd, that's playing on house money as well? What is your initial feeling on this one?
I'll go back to the rat poison analogy. Look at the bad rat poison that Georgia's going to receive after its horrible performance against Alabama. And meanwhile, Michigan they're getting all the praises in the world. I'll have to say this for Michigan. They'll have to play even better than they did against Ohio State. That offensive line will have to have the game of its life to beat Georgia. I expect Georgia's defensive line to handle Michigan's offensive line. That's one. Number two, Michigan's has not faced an offensive line like they're going to see in Georgia's O-line, and their defense with Hutchinson, they're going to have to stop the run. Now, that's Michigan's strength.
Yeah.
And if you look at each team offensively, their strength is to run the football. So obviously it's going to come down to who can run the ball first, the best, 2 turnovers. But number 3, more importantly, the passing game. Who's going to convert on long, 3rd and long, and who's in 3rd and long the longest?
You know what, Todd? You just touched on a great point. This has been Michigan's Achilles heel for, I want to say the whole Jim Harbaugh era, at least, is 3rd and long when they're on defense and their opponent is 3rd and 14 or 3rd and 9. It just seems like, I don't know, they give up that big play. It burned them against Michigan State earlier in the year, and I mean, this year it didn't burn them against Ohio State, but that is the situation that always leaves me skittish, Todd, is that 3rd and long defense. It seems like, I don't know if they play a little too much of a gap in that defensive zone where, they've got that pass across the middle. That's what worries me, but I honestly think they can pressure Stetson Bennett the 4th. I'm with you. I'm not as much worried about their passing game as I am about their running attack.
Well, there's 2 guys you need to be worried about for Georgia on the offensive line. One of them's a tight end, Bowers. He's a player waiting to happen on Sunday.
Yep.
You've also got McConkey, the wide receiver, who's not related to Phil McConkey, the Giants' star wide receiver when they won the Super Bowl with Carl Banks and company. He's not related. Everybody's asking, is that Phil McConkey's kid or nephew or whoever it is? And no, that's not it. But Georgia does have capable players in the passing game. Stetson Bennett is a walk-on. A lot of family history with the Bennetts at the University of Georgia playing football. His dad played there. He has uncles that played there. And he went to junior community college before he got his chance at Georgia. So he's earned his stripes. When JT went down, JT Daniels went down, Stetson Bennett, when JT was healthy, and I still don't think he's fully healthy. That's what everybody says around here. That all the reports are that he's not. But the coaches are watching practice. They know what happens. I think Stetson Bennett literally beat him out. And if Stetson Bennett can get time, he can hurt you.
Yeah.
But it's going to be up to Hutchinson and company to get to Stetson Bennett, and they must create that by stopping the run on 1st down. Now, another aspect, if you don't mind me saying, is Michigan has done a numerous amount of trick plays all season. They've been new, they've been creative, and they've been exciting. They're going to have to come up with trick plays against that Georgia defense. That's the one thing they're going to have to do. And you know what? Georgia doesn't do any trick plays, so I expect them to run a few in this game. I just do.
Boy, that's another great point. I was just going to say, they haven't done it. That's something, when you get to this point, I really believe that, they've got what they're going to have a month to prepare for this. So, you just never know. I'm really looking forward to this game, Todd. I think it's going to be, a knockdown, drag out affair. I don't know if it's going to be, ridiculously high scoring. I could see in the 20s, but I think if I was a betting person on this game, I would take Michigan in the points. I don't know if they're going to win. I hope they do, but I think it's going to be a close game.
Should be a close game. I really expect Georgia to win by 10 plus. I think the line's 14. I just think that it's going to be Georgia and Alabama for the title, and the rest of the country is going to be jealous, and they're going to hate it. And as they say in the SEC, it just means more. But here's the deal. You want to beat them, out-recruit them.
Yeah.
The problem is the best football players are in the Southeast, Georgia, Florida, Texas on the Southwest, California. Ohio's a heck of a high school football state, and so is Pennsylvania, and Illinois is better than everyone gives credit. But Michigan in recent years, the state hasn't produced the players that it used to have because of the decrease in the population.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I lean towards Georgia in this one because I just, to your point, until these SEC teams get beat, it's like Alabama. Until they get knocked off, I'm always going to bet with them. I'm always going to go with Nick Saban. He's on a roll. To quote Ric Flair, to be the man, you got to beat the man. And so I'm going with Alabama all the way. But I want to touch on a couple of things here before I let you go. I really appreciate you taking time out on the road.
Sure.
A bowl game in your backyard coming up on the 30th. I think that on a week from Thursday, in Georgia.
Yes.
Michigan State and Pitt. Kenneth Walker and Pickett both have declared that they're not going to play. They're going to get ready. Well, they say they're going to do it so they can get ready for the draft. We both know they're doing it so they don't get hurt, which there's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong.
Jake Butt is the cautionary tale, unfortunately, for us Michigan fans.
Yes, great point.
I feel bad for the folks that were expecting that, but the realistic folks, Todd, had to know that both these guys were going to opt out because their draft stock is so high.
Well, there's no question about it. And in regards to those two-star players that you talked about, Walker and Pickett, that's the game's draw.
Yeah.
And from a drawing standpoint, here in the Peach Bowl, usually you have a Southern team, one or two Southern teams in the game. Now, in recent years, it's been a mixed bag. But now the two teams from the North will this game get a good draw? I'm not so sure it will, even though college football, Atlanta is a college football town over a professional football town.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure what the draw is, but I can tell you what, Michigan State folks will come, but I'm not so sure about Pitt, even though it's been so long. They played in such a prestigious bowl like the Peach Bowl, and I'm hoping so. But, you think that's a problem. Wait till next Sunday when Atlanta plays Detroit and tickets in the Upper Bowl in Atlanta. You know what they're going for on vividseats.com?
No.
I saw seats as low as $18.
Oh, wow.
They might as well just open the gate and see if the people would just come in for free, and I'm still not sure if they're going to sell it out.
Well, I tell you what, that's like the Lions, that win against Arizona. There were so many empty seats in that stadium. It's tough right now. I mean, if you're not good, people are going to save that disposable income for Christmas presents, man. And speaking of the Peach Bowl, Todd, I've talked to a handful of State fans, and there are some that were planning on going. It's about 50-50 on the people I've talked to. They're still going to go. A couple of them aren't. Some of them still are. It's, up here, it's kind of, Atlanta's a fun town, especially for the younger folks, younger crowd. There's so much to do down there. And, if I would still go if I had the tickets. I know you can drive there from here. It's a long drive, but you can do it. It's not as expensive as having to fly to Miami where they're gouging you to go down there. But, we look at the transfer portal now, Todd, how it's getting out of hand. I see Bo Nix is the latest one. He's going to Oregon to play next year.
I'm sorry, Lou. What was that part? I went out on you.
Oh, you're fine. No, you're good. Bo Nix is with the transfer portal now really taking center stage a little bit without the big-name bowl games being played. I see he's going to be an Oregon Duck next year. The transfer portal's really changing some things here this year.
It's changing a ton. You saw the player Jack Miller go from Ohio State to Florida. And then Florida's quarterback Jones transferred So this transfer portal, it's good and bad, but it's basically like NFL free agency on steroids. I mean, think about it. These guys can up and at them one time all they want. And you would think with some of the NIL money, they would stay. But guess the guys that are transferring probably aren't getting the NIL money they want.
Right.
So they'll leave and go get it in other ways. Look, the coaches are up and going.
Yeah.
Contracts mean nothing with these coaches in college football. It can be ripped up, and the rich alumnus can go in and pay to get their guy.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? It's capitalism. It's a free market. What are you going to do?
I don't have an issue with it either. I mean, you're right. These kids bring a lot of money into these universities. The only issue I have is when you've got a loudmouth like Lane Kiffin getting on there and saying it's getting out of hand. And, you know, there's the pot calling the kettle black right there. That guy will leave. You talk about a carpetbagger. That guy would leave on a moment's notice. The most overrated coach, in my opinion, in the last 20 years in college football. Yes, he did good in Florida Atlantic or International or Pacific or whatever the hell university it was down there.
10 games at Ole Miss.
He won 10 games. It's the first time he's won anything of consequence in his coaching career. And, you know, but, you know, it's either here nor there. I think it's here to stay. Real quick before we go, we've got 3 weeks in the regular season. We've talked about this in the NFL, Todd. You know, it's still chaos. And now you throw COVID in with these Tuesday night games. Man, I've never seen a season where a team can look so good one week and look so horribly the next week. You know, technically there's 28 out of the 32 teams still left that could possibly get a playoff berth, although we all know there's only 4 or 5 really legit Super Bowl contenders.
Well, the sad part you just mentioned, 28 of the 32 teams still have a chance, which is pathetic. Pathetic one way, good for the NFL another, to give these fans quote unquote hope when they absolutely have zero hope. And speaking of fans, I saw the Lions on chatter going, well, we just blew the chance of #1 pick. Here's the deal. Detroit is a long way from, I don't care if they get the #1 pick, the 2 pick, the 3 pick, the 4 pick, the 5 pick. I'm Detroit. I trade that pick. I trade down, and I get a collection of picks, and I build the football team on the inside out. In regards to your other question, no, the quality of play in the NFL has been look, these guys aren't tackling during the week anymore.
No. So
they don't work on tackling like they used to, #1. #2, the officiating on pass interference is absolutely horrible. I mean, you know, the NFL is starting to look like professional basketball, and I'm not a fan of professional basketball anymore. And you're starting to see the NFL adopt some of the NBA's tendencies, and I don't like it at all.
Well, Todd,
getting the star treatment. You know, the quarterbacks like, you know, Brady's he's an all-timer, but he gets star treatment. Some wide receivers get star treatment. All the star players get star treatments. And they do that in professional basketball. And to me, the NFL needs to go back and officiate the game the proper way, the way it used to be.
Well, unfortunately, it's like chicks dig the home run ball, chicks dig the long pass.
Right.
And we're not. I think those days are long gone, especially when they want to err on the side of caution with safety. I mean, you know, you get hits like what happened with Donald Parham in that Thursday night game or whatever it was, when he was knocked out cold in the end zone. I mean, that was his own doing, his head hitting the ground. But I just think those days are over. I think it's going to be, you know, they're going to err on the side of caution for sure. Well, hey, Todd, I know you're busy. I appreciate you taking time out tonight. Tell everybody again what you're doing and, you know, what the hockey that you're broadcasting.
Well, again, it's the NAPHL showcase and the NA3HL showcase for Hockey Team TV up here in Blaine, Minnesota, about 30 miles north. I'm still calling college football and ESPN Plus, HBCU, SIAC conference. Hopefully I'll be doing some junior college basketball in Alabama this winter, along with hockey, continuing to do various showcase tournaments throughout the country.
All right. Well, hey, Todd, have a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and all that. Safe travels back down to the ATL, and we'll talk to you if right after the championship game, maybe we'll be celebrating a Michigan win and we can do the victor's dance together. What do you say?
Well, I tell you what, it would be a tremendous feat if they win the football game. And there's no question about it. And Merry Christmas to you and your family.
Thank you.
And I'm heading out of here tomorrow around 5 o'clock, and I can't wait to be with a family. My son graduated from Fort Benning. You probably saw that.
Yes, congratulations.
Wow, what a moment as a parent. Tremendous. He graduated from basic training and then his other training, and now he comes home and I have to leave for 5 days, but that's part of life. I'll get enough of him. So it hadn't seen him in, 5-6 months. So I'm looking forward to getting back and seeing him, but I love working this tournament, and I hope to be back each and every year.
All right, Todd. Thanks again for coming on. Safe travels, and we'll talk to you in 2022.
Take care.
All right. Todd Korter, friend of the show, always gracious with his time, talking a little football playoff talk here with the college football playoff coming up in 10 days. Michigan and Georgia, Alabama, Cincinnati. Those are the games. Alabama, Cincinnati will start it off in the Cotton Bowl at 4 o'clock, I believe. And then Michigan and Georgia at the Orange Bowl, New Year's Eve, 8 o'clock. Get your chicken wings ready, and then you can toast the new year. And after those two games, so it's going to be a lot of fun watching those games, and of course touching on the Peach Bowl with Michigan State and Pitt. Little luster taken off of that game possibly, and it's tough. We could talk about, is it good, is it bad for college football? But the one thing is, it's not surprising that the star athletes, if they're not playing in the Final Four, that they're checking out. They're going to save themselves. They don't want to get injured. We mentioned the Jake Butt situation. He was a projected number 1 pick at tight end for Michigan, and he blew out his knee in the bowl game and was never the same. It cost him an NFL career, basically, millions upon millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars. And so he's a cautionary tale for a lot of these athletes. And I just hope of hopes that even players don't start checking out of the college football playoff down the road. And, some of these other games of consequence, like the Rose Bowl and whatnot, because it would be a shame for the college game. But, I can understand why they're doing it. Football's a big business. These guys, they've got a living. Generational income is on the line, and I don't blame them at all. And anybody that does, I think, is being a little short-sighted. So we're going to take a break. When we come back, top of the hour, Stephen Burton's scheduled to join us from the No Horsing Around podcast. Indianapolis Colts, we're going to talk to him about that, and also AFC football, maybe a little pro wrestling question or two. So we also got our Captain Lou Six-Pack Challenge coming up yet tonight, and a touching tribute we're going to try to give to a player that I cover as a play-by-play man for Aquinas College. Alex Klakoka passed away this past weekend suddenly at the age of 23. So we got a lot to go over. Make sure you stick around. We are bringing you the Captain Lou Extravaganza live here on the 12-Ounce Sports Platform and Networks and Zingo TV, Channel 761.
Ounce Sports has a new home for betting. BetUS.com is the official place to place your bets and support 12-Ounce Sports. All you have to do is go to BetUS.com and type in the promo code 120Z and you'll instantly get a deposit bonus. This is America's favorite sportsbook. And remember, always gamble responsibly.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Captain Lou Extravaganza Live here on the 12-Ounce Sports platform and networks. That includes Twitter, Facebook Live, our YouTube channel, Twitch, and also Zingo TV, channel 761. We approach the top of the second hour. Many thanks to Todd Corder again for joining us, frequent guest here of the show. Always great insight. He's up in Blaine, Minnesota, covering NAPHL, NA3HL junior hockey tournaments for Hockey TV. Glad he could be a part of us here as we wind down our last show for 2021. It's been an up and down year for sure for everybody. It's sports is a hobby, and we try to kind of lighten your day a little bit. We know everything that's going on in the world with COVID, whatever. We want this to be a small portion, maybe a little getaway for you. We're glad that you, as a viewer, take time out of your schedule on a Tuesday night throughout the year, even if it's for 5 minutes, just to check us out. And, I love the feedback that I get. You can always get a hold of me at captainlousports@gmail.com. And, I love the feedback that I've been getting. We're going to make it bigger and better in 2022. Can't wait. As I mentioned, we're going to take a break. Next week, we're going to take off. We're going to kind of, we're just going to kind of just recharge, if you will. Get ready for 2022. We're going to hit the ground running. We got a lot to go over in 2022, including giving away our grand prize of the Captain Lou 6-Pack Challenge, which we will give you the games here in the second half hour, or in the second hour of our show, probably closer to 9:30, so Eastern time. So make sure that you stay tuned for that. Find out how you can be a part of drawing for that $100 Visa gift card and also a gift certificate to Fanatics coming up here. We're going to give those away in the last half hour of our show here tonight. Or no, we're going to give those away on January 12th. Excuse me. We're going to give you an opportunity to learn how to get in the drawing for that. See, I've got Christmas on the brain here, I guess. But whoops, that means we got our Captain Lou guest line filled right now. Let's get to it. And let's talk a little Indianapolis Colts football with Stephen Burton, who is kind enough to join us here tonight. Stephen, thanks for taking time out. Happy holidays, my friend. How are you?
I'm good, man. Happy holidays to you as well. Of course, I'm always excited to jump on here with you.
Well, I got to tell you, I'm on the bandwagon right now. I am on the Jonathan Taylor MVP bandwagon. Hell of a game for him Saturday night against New England. Just showcasing his talent. I got to tell you, very impressive.
Yeah, I mean, so you wouldn't be the first. I know that there's a lot of, there's a lot of people who have kind of jumped onto it. We actually did on our channel, a while back, what's he considered the number one running back. We've had a video where we discussed if he was an MVP candidate. So, I mean, you're not the first. Everyone's welcome aboard of it. I'm not entirely sure if he'll end up winning it because it tends to go to a quarterback, but I'm all for it right now.
I mean, they looked impressive. Carson Wentz, 5 complete passes last week. It's funny it's kind of a trend when a New England played game is happening here. You got them throwing 3 passes in a win. Now you got Carson Wentz throwing 5 in a victory. I mean, what are we talking about here? 1960s football here, back when they were good, back in there with Earl Morrall and that, back in the late 60s?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, since Reich has been with the Colts, he's always been all about kind of that power running game. Mm-hmm. And he's also been really big on what's the hot hand. what's working. You know, if you go back a couple of weeks to the Tampa Bay game, a lot of people were very upset they weren't running with Taylor, but the passing game was working really well. It was probably in the first half. It's probably one of Carson's best games of the year, and he kind of rode that hot hand. And even if you go back to last year with Taylor, he was still splitting carries with Naheem Hines a little bit. Excuse me, Jordan Wilkins, and a lot of people were getting upset because they weren't feeding Taylor. So I think I'm not in the minority. I know a couple of other content creators, Colts content creators, are kind of in the same boat as me. I'm not overly concerned with Carson going 5 for 12. I don't. Part of me wonders if when they got up 14-0, that Reich was like, hey, they're not scoring on us. Shut it down. Let's pound Taylor, and just didn't really throw the ball with Wentz. I'm in the minority. I've been known as a Wentz homer. I think he's actually had a pretty good season.
Well, here's the thing, Steven. All the guy did was win. I mean, I think he got a raw deal in Philadelphia. You and I talked about this at the beginning of the year when we were previewing the Colts, and he reunited with Reich. I mean, they had something together over there in Philly. When a guy wins, you're right. Why mess with it? They've got a good formula there. They've turned it around. I mean, they've won 5 out of their last 6. And personally, I think they're in great shape to get a playoff spot. I know it's going to be tough to overtake Tennessee with the tie break, but boy, they just, what really impressed me is their offensive line play.
Yeah, I mean, and that's definitely been a staple. When Ballard came in as the GM, coming off of Grigson, where he did not really address the O-line until he drafted Brian Kelly, it was a point of emphasis. And Quentin Nelson was that first pick, and he completely changed the way the O-line was. And they kind of filtered in. Obviously, Costanzo retired after last year, and Fisher's been hit or miss. But when you have an O-line that can be used as a weapon, the way that they do, and kind of just pounding teams, and you have a back like Jonathan Taylor, who is able to find those holes. He's an interesting runner too, just because he's got that track speed, but he's got great vision, and he's very patient, kind of Le'Veon Bell-esque. Yeah. When you watch him, he waits for that hole. I mean, in the walk-off run against the Patriots, he beat Jason McCourty and Dante Hightower, who had him kind of in their sights in the hole, and he just ran right past them. So, I mean, it's fun to have that. The Colts have had a couple of backs in their history, obviously, with Edgerrin James and Marshall Faulk.
Right.
And, you can go back to Eric Dickerson, and Joseph Adai had a good year. But this dude right here, he's special, and he's fun to watch.
Well, and I want to go back to when we were talking about Carson Wentz real quick. It's funny is what I like about the Colts right now is not only do you got the workhorse in Taylor, but boy, oh boy, when you've got a quote-unquote decoy option in Michael Pittman Jr. sitting there where with his talent, my God, you can set people up. You can set like an Arizona up this coming Sunday to feature him when they try to key on Taylor. It's exciting for you guys right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's really exciting between those two because, those were the first 2 draft picks last year. You had Pittman being the first one when we took him in round 2, and you had Taylor right afterwards. And, T.Y. was not getting, was not getting any younger. Paris Campbell was showing much more injury prone, and you needed that guy. And I do think it's funny that a huge conversation in the offseason was Michael Pittman not giving his number to Carson Wentz, and was that going to be an issue? Well, I think that's proven wrong, and I think Michael Pittman is probably his go-to target. And I think that is, going back to the Patriots game, that's something that is very easily overlooked, is Pittman got thrown out. And I think that could have affected, too, his comfort level with who he threw. He's very comfortable with Pittman. You watch, he'll throw the ball up into double coverage for him. And I think him going out in the third quarter may have affected it slightly. But, as Colts fans, we love those 2 picks hit. Carson has developed a great relationship with Michael Pittman. I mean, it's been fun to watch. It's been fun to watch that young talent kind of take over and see where they can go with it.
And Steven, it's crazy because you look at a game like last week, and it just you don't have the air raid defense or air raid offense, but Indianapolis is ranked third in the NFL right now in points scored, and that's a testament to the overall defense or overall offense, I should say. And your defense, I think, is ranked ninth. So that's a testament too of your success in the last 7 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's a huge testament, like you said. I think really to Ballard and specifically to Reich on the offensive side of the ball. He's questioned sometimes by Colts Nation, by the Colts fan base on some of his aggressive decisions, and sometimes he goes away from the run or he goes heavy on pass, and people don't really like that. But he's produced. They have a top offense, like you said. I mean, in the last, I love pointing to the stat. I'm a big Reich defender, and I've had the pleasure of actually being in a media availability and getting to talk to him one time. So, but his last 4 years, he's had 4 different starting quarterbacks, and if the Colts make the playoffs this year, it's 3 out of 4.
Wow.
Yeah, Andrew Luck, Phillip Rivers, Carson Wentz. Obviously, the outliner was Jacoby Brissett, who kind of came down with 7-9 and couldn't get to the playoffs. And then on the defensive side of the ball, I mean, I don't know what to say with that. When you have people like Darius Leonard and DeForest Buckner who are playing the way that they're playing, there's nothing you can do. And then you kind of have some of the younger talent, Kwity Paye. Mm-hmm. I know you're a big Michigan guy.
Oh yeah,
and he's kind of come on a little bit more. He seems to be catching on to the speed of the game. Until I think the Bucs game, he had a sack in, I believe, 3 consecutive games. He looked good. He's been a little hampered with injuries, but he's coming along. Dio Adengbo is somebody we're all really excited about. He's been a slower burn because of the Achilles injury.
Yeah.
I mean, the interesting parts, obviously, for us as Colts fans is going to be when we get to the offseason, Eberflus will be a hot name again. So will he end up leaving? I don't know. I don't know if the NFL is going to hire a defensive coordinator at this point because they're so offensive heavy.
Oh, I know. And that's a great point because you look at a team like Chicago, who we all know Nagy's going to be fired, but they got to do something, and I don't know if they'll go to a defensive guy. I got to ask you about one defensive player. You and I have talked about him. He's a local boy. I watched him play in high school. Khari Willis. How's he looking this year?
He's looked really good. I mean, he's such a stable in the secondary. Obviously, he got a little banged up, a little nicked up. He went on IR for 3 games.
Okay.
It was very much missed. Yeah. He's back now, making great plays. I believe he made a tackle for a loss, I think, in the Patriots game where he came up and really laid a hit. He's a leader. He's not flashy. He doesn't make the big splash plays like our other safety Julian Blackmon, who's out this season with the Achilles with a torn Achilles. But he knows where he's supposed to be. He knows where everyone's supposed to be. And he's a leader on the back end, to a very young back end too, a very young secondary. He's irreplaceable, and I think they really felt it when he was down for that 3 games.
We're talking to Stephen Burton. He's from the No Horsing Around podcast, also Turnbuckle Time. Stephen, I'm not going to let you go tonight without asking you a couple of wrestling questions, so I'm just preparing you for that too. So
okay, of course.
Let's look at the playoff picture right now, if we can, in the AFC. We've got your Colts right now. In my opinion, they're pretty well entrenched in a 5th or 6th spot. I would, for your cause, I would love to see them be able to get that division. They got an opportunity to do it. I don't know. Tennessee's sitting pretty good with the tie break, but I look at that. I look at the AFC. It looks like right now, in my opinion, you'll probably end up playing the winner of the AFC North, and that's not such a bad proposition right now because those teams can't get out of each other's way, and with the injuries and the COVID and this and that, none of those 4 teams look formidable right now.
Yeah, and they seem to be beating themselves up. That's the thing. I mean, and I know that's AFC North football for the most part.
Sure.
Obviously, for the Colts, we would love, and this is me, I would love another crack at the Ravens.
Oh.
I feel like that was one that got away, and But I don't know. Looking at that from an outsider perspective, they seem to be kind of just breaking down a little bit. I don't know if
Yeah.
it's going to be them. Uh, I would agree. I think, and with Colts fans and our listeners too, we kind of said, Steph, I would love for the Colts to win the division. I'm
Yeah.
having a tough. I've had a tough time figuring a pathway to it, just because the Colts could easily go 4-0 in this stretch. They could beat the Cardinals. Then they have two very winnable games with the
Yes.
Raiders and with the Jaguars. But that's not all you need. You need the Titans to effectively wet the bed,
Yeah.
which would be losing to the Niners and losing to the Dolphins or the Texans. And I don't know if I see them doing that. I think that they could end up with the same record.
Yeah.
But obviously, the Colts dug a hole by not being able to pick up one victory against them this year during the the series. So there's potential there. I said I think that the Titans will probably lose to the Niners, but that Dolphins game, that's 50-50. And if they were to, I told a buddy of mine who runs the Titans podcast, if they were to lose to the Texans, you don't deserve to be in the playoffs. If you lose to the Texans twice, you don't deserve to. You don't deserve that. So it's going to be a very interesting thing to see kind of over the last couple of games, these last 3 games, what happens. I do feel good. I do agree with you, man. I do feel good about, I think they're 81% according to Pro Football Focus to make the playoffs. I'm feeling pretty good about it. We've kind of said on our show all along that 10 wins get you in, 9 wins makes it tough. So you gotta pick up 2 of the last 3. And the Cardinals one has me kind of worried, but we're going to see what happens.
Well, here's the thing, and I know you've already probably researched this, but even if you stub your toe against Arizona, you've got a 7-3 conference record going into those last 2 games. I mean, you could go 10-7, win those last 2, be 9-3. You'd be set for a tiebreaker. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. The only thing that worries me about your game against Arizona is you got a team that's embarrassed, that got their their asses handed to them against my Lions, which I never saw it coming. On my Captain Lou 6-pack challenge, I picked Arizona to cover. I didn't see it. So,
hey, I'll tell you what, man. I love your coach, by the way, too.
Thank you.
I mean, I know some people are in and some people there are a lot of people who are out. He actually, when we hired Frank Reich, Campbell was one of the final interviews that we had. He was brought in for an interview to be the head coach of the Colts at the time. And I believe it came down the first round.
Wow.
For the Colts, it came down between McDaniels, Campbell, and I believe Vrabel. Mike Vrabel was one of the other ones. And they actually, I joke with people all the time when you talk about Chris Ballard. He interviewed McDaniels, who's a snake. I mean, I'm open against that. I hope he never gets a coaching job.
Doesn't deserve it.
He doesn't. But he interviewed Campbell. He interviewed Vrabel, and he actually at one point he interviewed Matt Rule. So all of them who are sitting head coaches right now. So I love your coach. I think he's a very genuine guy. He seems like so. But I'm very much with you, Lou. On as much as I love to see the Lions pick up those wins because I like him. I did not want to see a Cardinals team coming in on a 2-game losing streak to have to play on Christmas Day against them. So I mean that, but you are right. We did our little bit of research with that too, same as you did, and I think when we broke down the last 4 games, the Patriots was a must-have. Of all of them, the Cardinals was one you could drop and you'd be okay.
Last question for you on the AFC. I look at the teams that are fighting for the playoff spots, and you look at the playoff picture. I know we still got 3 games to go, but did you honestly think that in week 15 of this season, or going into week 16, if you will, the Buffalo Bills are playing for their playoff lives right now at on the 7th spot, tied with with the Chargers? They'll probably squeak in, but my goodness gracious, I thought they would be 10-4 right now, 11-3. You talk about a one-dimensional team. It's mystifying to me. That's my big surprise right there in the AFC is how they have struggled.
Yeah, I mean it's very interesting. I've always found it interesting too that they're so pass oriented in Buffalo. that they're not more of a run-oriented team, and they're very reliant on Josh Allen when it comes to the run.
Uh-huh.
The funny joke I heard was that the Colts broke them with his five touchdown performance. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens with them when it comes to the Patriots this upcoming weekend too.
Yeah.
Because I was a big proponent on our show leading up to the Patriots game. I posed the question with Mac Jones, is that he's been good, but I don't believe he had ever been asked to go win a game. He was asked to not lose games, and what would happen when you asked him to go win a game, and we kind of saw what that. I mean, I did come away impressed with his second half, but I mean, part of me wonders too with the Buffalo game, with the Buffalo and the New England game this weekend. Buffalo was embarrassed.
Yeah,
I mean, embarrassed at home. If I'm picking, I'm probably picking Buffalo in that one, just because I think they're, like you said, they're playing for their playoff lives. That you had a preseason MVP candidate in Josh Allen, and you had the preseason pick to win the AFC East, and they're not doing either. So I wouldn't be shocked if they came out like their hair's on fire.
Boy, it's crazy. But you know what? It's going to make for a lot of good football in these next 3 weeks, which, there's nothing wrong with that. We've got a lot to watch, a lot to unfold. And, that's what we're looking for, and I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see it. All right. I got to have you put your boots and trunks on real quick. A couple questions on pro wrestling.
Okay.
I don't know if you and I talked the last time about it, but AEW first, CM Punk to me, I love what he's doing in his back and forth with MJF. It's brilliant, and I don't know, obviously CM Punk's wrestling has been okay, but the guy's been out for 7 years. But boy, I turn on every night at 8:00 just to see the promos, and that's huge in my book. They've got my attention, and what he's done with MJF is, to me, generational behind the mic.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. I think it's such a big thing with him being there.
Yeah.
And he came in, he immediately went to Darby Allin, which is one of the biggest stars in the company.
Yep.
And then I kind of felt like he petered a little when it came to I think he was trying to support younger talent. And some of the young talent, in my opinion, wasn't, Garcia 2.0 and Powerhouse Hobbs wasn't quite there yet and ready to be in the ring. But I think this is what people have really waited for. I mean, I was talking to my co-host Adam, who does the wrestling podcast with me, and we said, you have in the history of wrestling one of the best people on the mic.
Yeah.
CM Punk going against, in my opinion, the best person on the mic currently, which is MJF. And the fact that Tony Khan and AEW kind of gives them free reign. We discussed that reports came out that Fox, USA, and WWE, Fox and USA are really pushing WWE to try to sign MJF when he becomes a free agent in 2024. And my brother, who doesn't watch AEW really, he was like, "That's a great idea. Why wouldn't he do it?" And my opinion was he will not be MJF in WWE. He will not have the free reign that he has to say the things that he says. But him and Punk, I mean, it's worth the price of admission. We're excited here. I mean, I live in Tennessee, and for the first time ever in February, which is close to my birthday, Dynamite's actually coming here to Nashville. So we're really excited. We're actually trying to get some tickets for it, but it sold pretty quickly.
Oh, I bet it did. Good for you. Hey, are you a fan of the Broadway matches, the 1 hour matches?
So, I wasn't this one. A huge Hangman fan. I'm a huge Danielson fan.
Yeah.
And it was great till the end. It kind of caught me by surprise. I was watching it, and you look down, and you're like, "Wow, it's 20 minutes." Then you look down again, you're like, "Yeah, it's like 45." And then you hear them say, "Hey, there's a 60-minute limit." And you're like, "Dang, they've been going for almost an hour." And I think what impressed me the most with that one was neither person seemed that winded coming out of the match.
Great point.
I was talking to Adam. I said, the last move was a buckshot lariat by Hangman.
Yeah.
Which is it requires a lot of energy, and he did it was the last maneuver after going for an hour. So I mean, I was impressed I was surprised, to be honest, that it was.
Yeah.
But I also understand why they did that. They did an hour. They went to a draw. Hangman's able to retain. It doesn't lose any of the luster for Danielson.
Right.
But I enjoyed it, mainly because those are two wrestlers I really enjoy watching now.
Yeah, they're very good. I agree, and it just what it does. It makes me think. And when I see these old videos on social media of, when Ric Flair and some of the other wrestlers talk about how many of those they used to do every night.
Yeah,
And it's just a different style of wrestling nowadays than it was 30 years ago. You know that. You watch it enough.
yeah.
You get a lot of 8 to 12-minute matches just because they want for TV and whatnot. Last question. We'll go to the WWE, then I'll let you go. They've got this new pay-per-view coming up, day one, and it looks like it's going to be kind of loaded. Are you a fan of the Fatal 4-Way for the Raw title? And do you see a title change on SmackDown at all?
So with the Fatal 4-Way, I'm never a huge fan, only just because sometimes it's kind of chaotic to me.
Okay.
And the ability to win without pinning the title holder. That's always a struggle for me. And in all honesty, I am not a Lashley fan.
Okay.
And he has gotten a lot better than what he used to be.
Yeah.
I'm a huge KO fan. I love Kevin Owens, and I was so disappointed that he resigned with WWE. I was so sad because I really thought he was headed to AEW. I think I heard some of his contract figures today, and I understand now that he's making $2 million a year.
That's good.
For the next 3 years, and he cannot be cut. He has a no-cut clause.
Wow.
So good for him.
Yeah.
They asked me, they were like, do you think he's going to win? I said, no, I don't. I really don't.
I don't either.
I could see it being a Seth Rollins. I could see that happening. I don't think Big E's long for the title.
No.
Not yet. I could see them passing it to Rollins. And as far as SmackDown, man, I'm gonna be honest. I don't see a title change in any of the near future. I really, really don't. We talked about it, me and Adam, off air. We were discussing it, and I don't think he loses the title till potentially WrestleMania, which is over 2 years.
Yeah.
That they've held it, and even then, I don't know. We were going through the SmackDown roster, and we were looking at it, and it was like, pick me a person who you could put in the ring with him and would be believable that could beat Roman Reigns at this point. And we came up with one, and that's Drew McIntyre. But I don't think they're ready to go there yet.
I don't either.
They're not ready to put him back in that spotlight, and they're not going to give it to Brock. And I love the remade Brock. I joke and say he looks like a bouncer from Ontario.
Yes.
Farm, and he comes out and he's ready to go. But he's only got 8 matches on his contract, and I don't see Vince putting it on him to have a part-timer essentially holding the title when Reigns is so hot right now. Just the ability for him to dominate the way he has. I don't see it. I struggle to see it's going to happen at WrestleMania. I mean, I don't know how long he's going to hold the title because I don't know who they can put in the ring that is believable to beat him right now.
That's a great point, Steven. I saw some stat where his next step is to be longer than what Brock held at 500 and some days or whatever. No, your point on. You're spot on, because there, in my opinion, is nobody on that roster when you've got Drew McIntyre feuding with who he's feuding with right now, and I just don't see it. So I love Roman Reigns' work right now. I think it's his best work. He's playing that heel role tremendously. So it's great. Steven, thank you very much for coming on the show. Tell us a little bit about what you do, what podcasts you do, and what work you do, and keep up the great work. But first, tell us where we can find you at.
Yeah, so we obviously it's the No Horsing Around podcast. It's an Indianapolis Colts podcast. It's myself and my co-host Zach Boyd, and you can find us at YouTube.com/No Horsing Around podcast. It's not weekly, it's not daily. It's kind of a mixture depending on what's going on. We try to put several videos out a week.
Mm-hmm.
We do a preview episode for the game that'll be dropping probably tomorrow or Thursday. And then we always do an instant reaction. Literally, probably right after the game, one of us, both of us, somebody's going to do one, and you're going to kind of get this gut reaction back, which has been positive and negative sometimes.
Yeah.
I joke with people. I had a lot of heat from the Ravens one because of something supposedly said about Lamar Jackson. I may or may not have said he was a top 10 quarterback, and that caused I still get Ravens fans commenting on my videos. 7, 8 weeks later, I'm playing the Ravens now. So you do that, and then, sprinkled in there's stuff like we were talking about earlier. Is Jonathan Taylor an MVP? Is he better than Derrick Henry? Or, is Carson Wentz a top 10 quarterback? So we sprinkle things in like that. We're always trying to connect with people. So we love comments when people comment on it. We always tell people we're always looking for people to subscribe, kind of join that family with us. We're really proud of what we do. We work really hard at it. We started the channel in the off season, and in that span, we've grown from no subscribers to almost 1,000 at this point.
Good for you.
And we're very blessed for the people who do listen and who comment. You can find us on Twitter. Mine's at Stephen Burton 86. Zach's is at Colts Nation 365. And then obviously you can find at No Horsing. That's where we drop our episodes. You'll see, me commenting during games, or Zach. Sometimes Zach, not as much because he's actually at the games. He's a season ticket holder for the Colts. That was the joke this past week. He was not able to come on the instant reaction because he had no voice because he had been at the game. So you can find us. We're always, we're a Colts podcast where we tell people all the time, whoever you're a fan of, we welcome everybody. I don't mind, like I joked earlier about the Ravens, I don't mind kind of to quote the street prophets a little bit, I don't mind the smoke. It kind of comes my way sometimes. We got great people we've worked with, from the Niners and the Rams to the Texans to the Titans. And we kind of welcome all fans because we're going to talk about everything.
All right. Well, it sounds like you're having a lot of fun, and you have been very successful. Congratulations on that. Stephen, Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Good luck this weekend. I hope you have a great Christmas, including another victory to keep that push going for the Colts. And most importantly, thanks for coming on tonight. I really appreciate it.
No problem. Anytime. Hey, and really quickly, too, I'm rooting for your Wolverines.
Thank you. All right. Here we go, baby. All right. Good deal. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks, Stephen.
No problem. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Stephen Burton from the No Horsing Around podcast. It is great. Check out their YouTube channel, by the way. They have got some excellent content, very well informed. And, it's his Colts right now, they're doing great. It's what I really like, as I mentioned to him, is the running game, obviously, with Jonathan Taylor. He is, he's my pick, sentimental pick maybe as the MVP. It's going to be hard to wrangle it away from a quarterback, either Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers. I think right now my 1-2 are Taylor and Rodgers, but it would be nice to see it go to a running back for a change. So thank you, Stephen, for coming on. Great content, great information. They've got a good shot. Like I said, right now they're sitting in the 5 seed. It is going to take Tennessee really crap in the bed, to quote him, to get that division title, even if Indianapolis can run the table and get to 11-6. Losing those 2 games to Tennessee is such a backbreaker when it comes to that. But they will get the 5 seed. I still think they're going to do that with that conference record of 3 losses. And they will probably play the AFC North winner, whoever it might be. We don't know yet because all 4 teams are within a game of each other. So we're going to take a break. When we come back, we've got our latest edition of the Captain Lou 6-Pack Challenge. Stick around for that. We got a whole lot more and a special tribute coming up here towards the end of the show. So please stick around for that as we pay tribute to a fallen Aquinas College hockey star, Alex Klikotka, who passed away at the age of 23 over the weekend. So make sure you stick around for that. You're watching the Captain Lou Extravaganza live right here on 12 Ounce Sports and Zingo TV, channel 761. Don't go anywhere.
12-ounce sports has a new home for betting. BetUS.com is the official place to place your bets and support 12-ounce sports. All you have to do is go to BetUS.com and type in the promo code 120Z and you'll instantly get a deposit bonus. This is America's favorite sports book. And remember, always gamble responsibly.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Captain Lou Extravaganza live right here on the 12-ounce sports platform and networks, including Zingo TV channel 761. Of course, you can watch us on our Twitter feed, Facebook Live, our YouTube channel, Twitch, just all kinds of different ways to check us out, and include, of course, our website, 12ouncesportsnetwork.com. I want to thank again Stephen Burton from the No Horsing Around podcast for joining us, talking Indianapolis Colts. Right now they sit at 8-6, sitting pretty good for a playoff spot, 5th position in the AFC. 1 game behind Tennessee, but really 2 games if you think about it. Tennessee has the tiebreak with the winning both games against them in the division. But as far as a playoff seed or a playoff spot goes, Indianapolis, the 5 seed, they've got 3 conference losses. They're 7-3 in conference, and that's huge. Nobody else has that, so they've got the tie break, and they're looking pretty solid. They've got a big game against an Arizona team that I know is going to be loaded for bear after the ass whooping that our Detroit Lions gave them. So anyways, let's get to it. We've got to do this quickly now. Let's get to the Captain Lou 6-pack challenge and how this works. Everybody is, we've got 2 chances left to get in the drawing for the $100 Visa gift card and the Fanatics gift card that we're going to give away at the end of the year. If you can beat me on these picks that I'm about to show you, I pick 6 games against the spread. You have to do pick these games better than me. If you do, you're in that drawing for the $100 Visa gift card. It's that simple. Here's what you do. Follow me on Twitter at The Real Captain Lou, or follow me on Facebook at Lewis Gamlin, or Instagram, Lewis Gamlin, or drop me an email, captainlousports@gmail.com. That's what 90% of you do, at least. And you will be in the drawing for that $100 Visa gift card. It's that simple. So without any further ado, let's put the picks up on the screen. As you can see, we've got 6 pro games. During the year, we do 3 college, 3 pro, but with it going the way, with the college games now, and what I call the silly season of bowl games, we thought we would stick to the pros. So we've got 6 games for you to pick. It's funny, some of the games, for example, the Rams game, right now they're a 3-point favorite on the road at Minnesota. I believe they're up 17-10 in the 4th quarter over Seattle. A big game for them, because if they can win and get to 10-4, they're right there for first place. They're tied for first in the NFC West. So we're going to start with them. They're a 3-point favorite on the road at Minnesota. Minnesota, I know, is playing for their playoff lives. If you look at the playoff picture right now in the NFC, they are currently in that 7th spot, tied with New Orleans, and also depending on the winner of Washington and Philadelphia. I believe Philadelphia, if they win, will have the tie break. Let's take a quick peek at that. They would both be at 5-4, so it would really kind of muddle things up. I don't know which Minnesota team's going to show, but I got a feeling I know what Rams team is going to show. It is a road game, but LA's starting to pick up momentum. Their defense is really rounding into shape. I'm going with the Rams. -3. Next up, let's go to Tampa Bay at Carolina. Tampa got beat 9-0 the other night. They are in some serious issues on the offensive side of the ball. Leonard Fournette's going on the IR. Godwin's out for the rest of the year. They're hurting. Carolina's an 11-point dog at home. That's almost too good to be true. Early Christmas present. I'm taking Carolina plus the 11. I'm not saying they're going to win, but I think, I don't know, is this going to be a game where Tom Brady just goes, you know what, to the wall because of that showing, getting shut out for the, second time in his career? Well, I still think Carolina's going to cover. I'll take Carolina plus the 11. Seattle at home against Chicago. They're playing LA tough right now. Again, I'll get an update on the score. It looks to me like it is 17-10. Seattle's got the ball at the 50-yard line with about 5.5 minutes left to go in that one. I got to tell you, Chicago, to me, they're done. Mail it in. Nagy's dead man walking as far as that goes for his coaching career in Chicago. I don't see what they got left to play for. Seattle may not have anything left to play for either after tonight, but I'm going with Seattle. They're at home. I'll lay the 6.5. I'll take Seattle. New Orleans and Miami. This is going to be an interesting game. It's basically a toss-up. New Orleans gets the 3 points because they're at home. Both teams playing for playoff position. Miami still has a hope and a prayer. 7-7. Both teams are 7-7. I just don't know how Miami's going to perform on the road. This is, I try to pick tough games now this time of year. I really don't have a feel for either team. Give me New Orleans minus the 3. I'll take the home team in this one. Pittsburgh at Kansas City. Kansas City is an 8.5-point favorite at home. I love what they're doing. They are on a roll. Well, they've won 7 in a row, I think. Pittsburgh 7-6-1. They got a shot at winning the division. They win this game, then I'm a believer. I don't think they're going to win it. I honestly don't think they're going to win this game. I'm going with Kansas City on this one, and I think they're going to win by double digits. I think their defense is playing much, much better. I don't see how Pittsburgh puts more than maybe 14 points up on them. Kansas City at home. They want to solidify that number 1 seed to get that opening round bye. I look for Kansas City to win this one going away. 28-17, 35-17, somewhere in that regard. Maybe 28 or 27-14. Give me Kansas City minus 8.5. Finally, Denver at Las Vegas. I don't know on this one either. You could throw darts at this one for all I know and pick a winner. 7-7 Vegas, 7-7 Cincinnati. Denver. I don't know what shape Teddy Bridgewater's going to be in. He's out of concussion. He's in concussion protocol right now. He's out of the hospital. Vegas, big win on the road against a beat-up third-string quarterback Cleveland team. Derek Carr is doing it with smoke and mirrors with that team. That team is, you talk about a team that doesn't have a whole lot of talent either, but they're both right there in the playoff picture. Neither one of them are out of it yet. They need help, but neither one of them are out of it. I just like Vegas because they're at home. They're going to have that home crowd behind them. They're going to muddle things up a little bit. I'm going to go with Vegas minus 1. So there you go. Our picks, I got Carolina at home getting 11. Way too much. Way too many points. I'm not saying they're going to win, but way too many points. Give me Carolina plus 11. Seattle minus 6.5. I'm going to take them at home against Chicago. Kansas City laying the 8.5, home to Pittsburgh. I got New Orleans laying the 3 at home against Miami. I got Vegas laying 1 against Denver. They're at home. And finally, I'm taking the road team, the Rams, minus 3 at Minnesota. So what you need to do is you need to, 3 different ways you can do this. Follow me on Facebook, Lewis Gamblin. Follow me on Twitter at RealCaptainLou. Instagram as well, Lewis Gamblin. Or drop me an email at captainlousports@gmail.com. I will have these picks posted on my Facebook page and my Twitter page tomorrow, and you can leave me those picks there. You have to pick these games better than me. You have to use these lines here. And it's crazy because they fluctuate more than ever with COVID and whatnot. I've stuck with the lines. I was 2-2 going into tonight's games. So the jury's still out because 2 of my games were moved to tonight. So I could be 2-4 or 3-3 or 4-2. We'll have to wait and see. But anyways, that's how you get into the challenge. If you beat me on those picks, you're in the drawing. We're just a couple of weeks away. The season has flown by. Couple of weeks away for 3 weeks away because we'll not be on next week with our Christmas break. We're going to take a week away. So make sure you do that. Look at these picks again tomorrow. They will be on my Facebook page, Twitter page as well. And you can be a part of the excitement. It's been a lot of fun, a lot of good feedback. The emails have been fantastic. And again, we want you to be a part of it as well. Again, I want to thank everybody for joining us here tonight. We got a special tribute coming up next. I want to say Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to everybody. It's been a fun 2021. With you, we've had some great guests, some ex-ball players on the show, great insiders. Stephen Burton, Todd Corder, Steve Finnemore. The list goes on and on. Cody Jansen. We've had a lot of fun. Jack Ebling, longtime writer for the Michigan State Spartans. We've got more on the line in 2022, and we can't wait. It's going to be a lot of fun here at 12 Ounce Sports. We've got a lot of exciting things in the works. We're growing. We want to thank you. It's because of you that we're growing, and we want to thank you for that. So, again, thank you from the bottom of my heart for a great 2021. And so there you go. We're going to take a break. We come back. I got a special tribute coming up. I want you to stick around for it. Something that's it just goes without saying. We're going to take a quick break. We come back. We will give you our special tribute to Alex Klikoka. So make sure you stick around for that. You're watching the Captain Lou Extravaganza live here on the 12 Ounce Sports platform and networks, Zingo TV, channel 761. We'll be back here in about 45 seconds. Don't go anywhere. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Captain Lou Extravaganza. We're live here on the 12 Ounce Sports platform and networks and Zingo TV, channel 761. Wanted to take this time out and tell you a little bit. Again, we're going to take another quick break. When we come back, we will have this tribute. Had a little technical difficulty. So, again, give me another 45 seconds. And we'll be right back. You're watching the Captain Lou Extravaganza live here on the 12 Ounce Sports platform and networks and Zingo TV, channel 761. Wanted to tell you a little bit about 6 years ago now, right at the end of 2015, two great things happened in my life. I met my future wife, Andrea, in December of 2015, and I also got the privilege of being a part of the Aquinas College men's hockey program as their play-by-play announcer. It was kind of a dream come true to be able to do college hockey. Um, in the coming years, obviously, I've gotten married, which is with other than my son Matthew being born, one of the highlights of my life, probably the second biggest highlight of my life. And also, I've had a lot of excitement, a lot of great, great memories with the Aquinas College hockey team. They've done a lot of great things in that 6 years. 2016, they were runner-up national champions, ACHA Division III. 2017, they won the whole thing in Division III down in Columbus, Ohio. It was a great, great, thrilling moment to be a small part of being able to be on that broadcast as well. 2018, they won the NAIA National Championship. 2019, Aquinas made it to the Nationals in Division II. They made the national tournament down in Dallas. And in 2020, they were going to go to Nationals, but of course had the COVID that canceled all the sporting events in that spring, all the college tournaments, no matter what sport it was. In 2021, they qualified for the Nationals, went and participated in that. So they have enjoyed a lot of success, a lot of champions. In that time frame, I've had a chance to be a small part of that program. As their play-by-play guy, I've gotten to know their head coach, Jordan Promoda, assistant coach, Mark Van Vliet, who is also my tag team partner now on the broadcast of Aquinas College Hockey that you can hear on AQSaints.com, the AQ Sports Network. But I've also gotten to meet a lot of great players. And not only great players on the ice, but off the ice. Calvin Witosik, Connor Barta, Sam Kaiser, Max Berry, Mason Stewart, Kyle Truax. The list goes on and on. Greg McQuaid. I could list, Connor Matalitis. The list goes on and on. Ryan Wolf, Roman Malkoff, Nick Ottenbacher. Again, just quality humans on and off the ice, quality men, quality guys, just, always had to smile for me. Brandon Rosema, always giving me the yell, "Hey, Captain Lou, how you doing?" Well, we all know that sports teams are a tight community, and they're a tight brotherhood. And the hockey players, I think, sometimes are even, the tightest of, tight friends on and off the ice, on and off the field, whatever. Aquinas College lost one of their brothers this past weekend. Assistant captain Alex Klakoka passed away in his sleep Saturday morning at the age of 23, natural causes. Alex was a nice kid. He was a good kid. Very, very friendly, very well respected on and off the ice, a great teammate. I had a chance to interview him a couple of times after games with Aquinas. I had an opportunity to speak with him a couple of times, before games and whatnot. Not real close with Alex, but I could tell how well liked he was, with his teammates. And, you talk with the coaches, and he was just a genuine human, good guy. And he was, Aquinas College is a small college, Catholic college in Grand Rapids, Michigan, for those of you that may not know, liberal arts college. I think their graduating class might be 800 kids. So it's very closely knit. He was very well respected, like I said, by his teammates, by his classmates. It's never easy to lose a teammate, a friend, a parent, a family member. Alex touched a lot of people. He was, I can't say enough about it. He was, the loss has been very difficult, as it should be. And, especially around the holidays, it's not any easier. But we know Alex is up there watching us right now, watching over us and everybody. We've got AK3 on my screen right now, as you can tell. But we thought here we'd give you a little taste of what Alex did on the ice. his passion. You know, we know that he had a future that was cut way short. We know he was going to be a success off the ice. And we know he's up there watching over us, as I mentioned, you know, sharpening his skates, getting his fishing rod out ready to go. You know, I've read the stories and read the tributes from his teammates and his coaches. So I thought maybe I could give you one in honor of Alex Klikowka. A few highlights of his career at Aquinas. As we say goodnight tonight, hug that special someone. You never know. Tell them you love them. And, you know, just always be there for that special someone. Alex, like I said, you and I weren't real close. I did get to know you a little bit. Thank you for the memories. Thank you for taking time out to talk to me when I asked you to. And I am very appreciative of that. Rest in peace, Al. We're going to miss you. And let's leave the show tonight with some highlights of Alex Klikowka as a member of the Aquinas College Saints, with some highlights the last couple of years.
It's been really buzzing here the last 5 minutes.
Off the face-off, played around the boards. Grand Valley will come up with it. Out the center ice. Deflected right on the AQ logo. Going to be held there by Prohitsky. Now Johnson has it. He'll skate it up over the line. He's got Klikowka with the rebound right out in front.
Yeah!
He scores! Nick Long, the captain, up the rebound. And just like that, it's 2-1 Aquinas. Time of the goal, 7:52.
Well, again, that second and third effort, Lou. Goalie makes a great save, but can't control the rebound. We just keep pounding away at it, and it goes in. Goalie Paul is frustrated right now, felt he was interfered with, but the official obviously saw it different.
Oh, my goodness. What a play.
Sakes.
Russell Shangalette. What a feed by Klikowka. 4-0 Aquinas. He came just sprinting down on goal, and right at the last second found Shangalette.
Oh, my goodness.
And boy, oh boy.
That was like men and boys right there. Whoa, wow.
We got a line change for the Saints, Aquinas, or for Calvin rather. McQuaid tried to catch him on that, but instead Calvin was able to come up with it. They'll outlet it to center ice as Richardson will play a little give and go. Elford now will skate up after it in the near corner, trying to make a play on it. Tries to feed it to Stewart. Austin able to kick it away over the near corner. They'll play it there. Held in by Richardson at the blue line. There's Rosemont with a drive. Rebound, and he scores!
Well, goalie couldn't control the rebound there, Lou, and gave Aquinas a second chance and made no doubt.
Alex Klikowka with his fourth goal of the year off the rebound, top shelf. And the Saints draw first blood. They're up 1-0. Time of the goal, 4 minutes and 41 seconds. Aquinas, Shangalette with wheels. He's got Long along with them. There's one. I said it, and he scores!
What a great.
Alex Klikowka. What a pass by Nick Long over to Klikowka, or actually Shangalette to Klikowka, and we've got a 1-0 lead. Time of the goal, 7:42.
Yeah, had numbers going into the offensive zone, able to drag the defenseman over, committing to the, I guess it was Klikowka,
Yes, indeed it was.
and able to shovel the pass over, but
And it's played in the neutral zone,
Wow,
or
here
in
we
the
go.
slot area. Here it comes the other way, up over the line with a shot. Malkoff will tip it away. Shangalette has it. Plays it out the center. Here comes Klikowka. Nice pass. There's a shot. Rebound. And he scores! Alex Klikowka off the rebound. And it's 2-1 Aquinas. Time of the goal, 9 minutes and 46 seconds.
well, that's, I'll tell you what, that culminates a number of shifts of hard work, and good for Aquinas. You could see the momentum starting to build for Aquinas. They started to get some confidence, generate some opportunities, and it paid off there with the hard work.
Keep your heads up, everybody. Keep your sticks down. Keep your feet moving. And as always, keep your minds open. Good night, everybody. Rest in peace, Alex. You're going to be missed. That's for sure. Good night, everybody.